important section talking about the concept of Divrei Elokim Chaim. That how is it possible that we have contradictory opinions stated by the Chachamim, and they're all coming from one source, one makor? So how is it possible? And that they can both write even though they're saying opposite things?
You mean like conflicts between the Rambam and the Rabbi?
Or even between the Tanaim and the Maharal from the very beginning. There's always different views. Okay, so the Oma Bali Asifus. So it's talking about people that come together in gatherings. So he says, it starts out by saying, it's impossible that the Chachamim are all going to be saying the same thing. Because that is not possible. Why? It's impossible that because each person's seichel is different, by nature his seichel is different, so therefore obviously what his opinions are going to be is also going to be different. Because as long as his seichel is in some way involved in the process of determining the halachim, in other words, in this sense, that the chachamim are shutfim. They're like partners with Hashem. They're not simply mouthing what Hashem tells them to say, in a sense. They're involving their own seichel. The Eibishter is giving them the authority and allowing them to get involved in this process, and they themselves are part of the creative process of determining what the law is going to be. So this is because their seichel is different. So their opinions are going to be different. We call dover v'dover efshar shelo yiyeh bechina yoser me'achas l'dover echad. Okay, so that's where this starts. Yeah, mine starts in just a minute after that. Okay, so here, you can take this for a second. Starting at the beginning of the page. Because now he's saying that not only is the seichel of the chachamim different, but the metzias, the actual reality, is a murka. There's no such thing. Only the Eibishter is a actus apushit, right? Simply actus apushit they call it. Every mitzvah is a murka. It's combined of various elements, and because the mitzvah is like that, it's impossible that if you say that something is tumah, it's going to have a tzad tahara. If it's tuah, it's going to have a tzad tumah. There's going to be some element of it that's going to be from the opposite side as well.
There's no oneness like a Kadosh Baruch Hu oneness. Right,
exactly. This is a bria, and so it is by almost by definition, it's going to be.
My friend was just expressing his I wouldn't call it doubt, but his curiosity to this paradox: how an infinite, perfect being that's one could create finite, imperfect
that is the
particles.
That is the issue of the whole Kabbalah is based on this. I mean, that's like when you start with the study of Kabbalah, that is the question that they ask. How is it possible you can create from total ruchnius you can get gashmius? What's the steps in between? It's all based on it. That is the classic question. Okay, so he says here. Even Udam, if you look in the seichel, the efshar sheyikol siflei b'nei Udam al derech echad k'moishin zbor, like we said before. That it's impossible because people are different and they're a different seichel, and they're going to agree on everything. The kach kol echad be'echad mekabel b'chinas achas k'fi chelik sichlo. So in other words, as far as accepting things that the Eibishter himself said, that's very clear and you can only interpret one way. Ani anochi Hashem elokecha, right? So that's when we're repeating something that somebody told us, so then our seichel isn't part of it. But when we're trying to interpret it and trying to apply it in different situations, that's where the seichel gets involved, and that's where you're going to come up with different answers. So he says, so the kol echad be'echad mekabel b'china achas k'fi chelik sichlo. The al zeh keruam ba'alei asifus. So that's why they call them ba'alei asifus. That they're.
You spoke to her.
consider like that.
Baruch.
So that's what we call them.
Sorry.
That's what we call them Baalei Asifus, that they're people that come together. Right? So they sit together because if everybody has a different perspective and they're using the seichel in a little different way, the only way to come to a clear understanding of what's going on is if they're cooperating one with the other. They're not sitting, isolated in their own corner, and each one's just into their own thoughts. By the interaction between them, the way they can, influence each other or find out, come to certain cases where they're actually, influence each other's opinions, and one gives into the other, whatever. And there's certain situations where, where they're simply like voting on who gets the majority opinion. But there's an interaction and a dynamic that's going on between them, not just one way that's authorized. So even though, and that's also the beauty of it, is that even though each one has his own approach, his own seichel, they're willing to get together, and they know that the only way that they come to a real maskana and a real truth is to cooperate together, and not to each one separate himself from the other one because he doesn't agree with it. So that's the idea of Achdus allows us to benefit from everyone's days. And then we get a much broader perspective on the whole issue, because we're each one has his own perspective, and each one's adding to the whole by expressing their own individuality. So in other words, people are not looking to conform to one derech. It's by being together and exchanging our opinions, we're able to come to some kind of maskana or whatever. And even in cases where they didn't come to a maskana, where the machlokes is still held. But in any case, there's that interaction. The Omar Shema Toima in Cain So in case you might say, so if that's the case, how am I going to learn Torah? What am I going to do? I got all these different opinions. I'm going to make up my own mind who I'm going to follow, and what's the process here? How are we going to do this? So from that it says, Koheles, they're all given from one shepherd, so to speak, from one roya. Kel echad nasnan, parnes echad omron, mipi adoin kolamasim. Okay, so one God gave them all, one parnes, one parnes is like a leader or somebody who's who supports everybody else. He said it, and it's all from the Adonai Kolamasim. So in other words, it's all as one source. When Hashem gave the Torah to He gave everything in the Torah the way it actually is. He said it like it is. He said what the actual Matthias is. The Omar Shadin Zeh Yesh Boy Bechina L'Schis Yesh Boy Bechina L'Choiva. That in each thing there's a positive element and a negative element. In a sense, there's an element that is like an essay and a lois. I said there's a way that it can lead you to schis and a way that can lead you to v'choiva. The din shall issa v'heter. Yesh bedin zeh bechina leheter v'yekan bechina leisser. Everything is like two sides to it. You can go with it to the side of the heter and side of isser. V'chein kusher pusel. There's an aspect to it that is the opposite of the other aspect. There's always two sides to a coin. There's always the flip side, so to speak. That everything in the world is made up of two opposites. You can always think the thing itself, and you can always find its opposite. Shehi Misyaches El Yesod Hamayim. Okay, so you can take the Metzias of wood. Okay, a piece of wood. A wood can be has a certain weakness, has a certain relationship with water. And that's true. It does have a certain aspect of water. Well, wood is as it is because there's an element of water in it. But there's also an element of air. You'll never find something in the world that's only one thing. It's always combined of different elements. So the whole thing is really how you weight things, what you emphasize and what you focus on, and what what is your what's your bias, so to speak. Because according to the characteristics of the person themselves, the midah that they represent, they are lamasim biased in a certain direction, not because they took a shoichet, like they were bribed to go in a certain direction, but their personality itself sees things naturally from a certain perspective, a certain way. So the Yeshiva didn't put them in the Torah, they're kind of like the diamond that you look at it from all different angles, and everyone sees it a little bit differently. It shines in a different way to each person. So every way that you look at it is going to be different. So he says that the Torah is also like that. Ein davar echad tumah legam shelo yeh b'tzad tahara v'yesh b'tzad timah gamkin. Kasher echad lomad al davar echad tuah. So when one person learns on a particular situation that this is tuah, the nusan time of a secret tahara, and he gives his reason, and he gives his seichel to understand why it should be tuah. He actually did. It's not just his opinion. He's focusing on that aspect that actually exists in that thing. That thing combines these different elements into one. But he's bringing out that aspect of it. But it exists within the thing itself. That's really his approach here. He's saying his finish is that this is not just how I'm seeing it, my opinion. This exists within the thing itself. It's just a matter of whether I choose to, or I'm oriented towards finding this aspect of it, and another one's oriented towards finding
another person could say the same exact thing about what they're particularly trying to bring out.
Mm-hmm, exactly. That's exactly the point. So he also, the person who says Tomeh also has a bechina that he's picking out of it, that pushes it to the other side. So that's what it says. All of them are taken from the Odon Hamasi. The Luma Hitzach Loima Kan Lipi Odon Kalamasim. What's the idea of Odon Kalamasim, the Lord of all the actions, all the things that are made. Ela roitze loima kamoisha Hashem yisborach Adon kalamasim, and in many nimsa oilam amirka sheyesh bar devoram ischalfin. So just as the world is a dover mirka, it's a composite of many different elements, and elements that are even contradictory one to the other, and they're all within the same thing. And when one thing is also the opposite of another, the kaki dover zeh shekol dover yesh loi. So everything has its opposite aspects to it. She'ein ha'olam pushit she'lo yeh boy chilech b'chinas. Everything has multiple elements. In kain, ha'metahir yesh lama toira k'moy ha'sheni, ki l'chol zeh lama toira k'moy ha'sheni, ki l'chol echad yesh lo b'china b'fnei atzmoy, v'shem yizborach bura es ha'kol. So one God created the whole thing, and everything has these multiple aspects, and each one is saying one aspect. He's the one who created it with these two bechinas, with these two these various variety of aspects. So this is now he's making a distinction, saying, okay, so we said that you could say Diril Kim Chai because both sides are ultimately from the same Metzias, which also all came from the Eibishter, and the Eibishter put both the things into it. However, when you're actually being Kovei Allah Lamaisa, what you should do, one is an Iker more than the other. Obviously, there's a difference in opinion which one is the Iker, but there is such a thing as Iker. But there is such a thing as Iker. So he's going to say, K'maisa Hashem, Afki Adover, He Mirkav, even though, a person like the act of what Hashem created also, even though the thing is combined of various aspects, Michol Mokam Ein Zeh K'moy Zeh, he's saying basically one is dominant. One is the thing that takes precedence. It is either the majority of the thing, or the thing that really is the ultimate deciding factor in that thing, or the thing that's used the most. Now, what's interesting is you can think of it this way: that if a person, if a certain let's say a certain din is composed of several aspects to it. Okay, so for let's say the majority of the time, in the majority of cases, and for the majority of people, this is what works. This is what we have to pass in a certain way. But it could be that in another time or in another circumstance or whatever, in a situational type of thing, there are exceptions, and there are times that Rabbonim themselves have to say, okay, normally this is what we do, but in this particular case, this becomes the din because this is what's necessary now. So in other words, because the situation changed, so now we're taking an aspect out that was subordinate then, and now it becomes dominant. The only thing is that's become a great care, because the tendency, the general din is that a beis din can't reverse the decision of previous bati din, but there's all kinds of there's all kinds of exceptions to
that comes up in each individual case.
It's very that's why we have a concept of smicha, a concept of an authority which is passed down.
I give one example. It's not the most pleasant example, but abortions, for example, is a very hot topic.
Right.
That's one of those things that it's really an individual case by case. According to Torah, does not allow it, only if it's medically necessary. But what is considered medically necessary, what is the situation, each thing depending on how many months have passed, all the specific details come into play, and that's why the person needs a place.
I'll tell you, a really scary thing is, to think about how to pass in such a case. I just heard about this now, that there were Jewish, there were a couple of conjoined twins born to a family in Crown Heights, family. And they share one heart. Maybe they just have two heads or something, or whatever it is. I don't know exactly what the situation is, like 2 months old. And those things are extremely complicated. Questions.
One baby's
because,
not going to be able to
one will, one won't. Should you try to separate them? Should you not? I mean, there's only one heart. It's about impossible to separate them. But I know that you talk about every individual case is different, and you have to figure out,
Oh my God!
I heard about a case of a
how do you do that?
there was a Muslim family that went through this, a very religious family, and they had a choice whether to separate them or not. And there was a possibility that they could both survive, but it was very unlikely. And Melissa, they separated them, and they lived through the operation, but then soon after one died. So can do it, but however they determined what they should do at that time. I'm just saying, these just to talk about life and death situations. What? No, they actually, I think
that's complicated. One heart. Only, you're gonna have a kid grow with two heads. Like, how's he gonna go to school? How's he gonna function?
Well, no, they did. There is in Minnesota. There were two girls, one like that, two heads and 2 arms and 2 legs. And they share certain. No, I think they're twins.
Can both heads talk? Can both heads talk?
Yeah.
So they can talk to each other?
Yeah, absolutely. They do everything together.
If that was a man,
they ride a bike together.
If that was a man, can he be counted for 2 million? Like, if you have 8 guys, can you count them for 2? But they function. They're like in their 20s now, I think. But they share some internal organs. It's like when they get married, it's like a ksuba, like 2 people. Like, how do you deal with all this stuff? Like, it comes up.
Anyway, so
one's sleeping, one's up. It's probably very annoying.
But on the other hand, they were born like that, so they've lived their whole lives like that.
I wonder how it is like in their body. Like, let's say one wants to move the hand, the other one doesn't want to do it. How does
it involves a great deal of cooperation because they know that neither of them is going to get anywhere unless they cooperate totally. So obviously,
that's good.
What it really shows is the tremendous adaptability of a human being. How you can adapt to virtually any situation. But at least they're functioning, whereas they can actually. It's not like one's hanging off the side somewhere, and there was a situation where one had to be standing on a stool while the other one was walking or something just to keep up with them. That's really, but here it's like one functioning person with 2 heads. Anyway, so going back to the metaphor of the example of the wood. So Sharei Eitz Shehi Mirka Yisoidus. It has all 4 Yisoidus within it. Ha'ikar Sheboiver Bo Yisoider. So he's saying, interesting. Maybe we didn't say that, but he's saying that the ikar element in the wood is the aspect of air. Mashiadia, he says.
You said here?
Huh?
Here?
Shiadia, he says. It's known.
Like Here?
What?
I
No, wood.
Yeah, that's
Wood is composed of all four elements, but the dominant element is air. 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 So what does it say here? Moshe was like, Yishal Yavakiriach Yedaber al ha'etzim shehem yisoid hariyah shekeneg do yonah yisoid ulufak. Somebody else could say that it's really the element of
wood.
Of earth.
I would say earth, right?
Yeah, right. So Yavakiriach Nigla shediver shneim emes. So they're both true. Raksha oina shehem yisoid hariyah Yedaber be'ikar mahisam. Says that is really the ikar mahis, the ikar existence of the wood is really from the air. Because the ikar is always something that's more ruchnistic, and the air is more ruchnistic than earth. And we use some suffering of their mind. Oh, so that's why
water, though.
That's why it floats. That's why it floats, because of the air in it. If it was just plain earth, it would fall to the bottom. So the fact that it floats.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, there's a whole scientific thing about the density of the object.
Well, what does density mean? Density means it's combined with air. Air, we tend to think of
the material.
No. Density is something else. Density has to do with how much empty space, so to speak, there is between the molecules of matter or whatever. So we think of that as just being empty. But he's saying that's the yisoid hariyah. The other is itself a yisoid. How does a bird fly? A bird can only fly because it has so much air in it that it becomes light. It's got air pockets within its body that allow it to fly to be that light. So it's a very insightful way of looking at it. Yeah. I mean, if that's the case, you could maybe say that water also is water, ice cubes float. So you could say that that's also an aspect of air in the water itself. Right, anyway, so the af sheyesh the dover echad the chino is mischalpit. So there's various aspects. Kilam nosnim min Hashem yisbura. Rak ki echad mehem yosef ikar hi machriya. So the machriya is the thing that's considered the ikar. On the other hand, don't think you can ignore or bypass the subordinate elements and as if they're not there. No, you have to be conscious of all of them. Because in order to really comprehend something, you have to understand all of the elements and all of the aspects of it, not just concentrate on the one aspect and ignore the other. So to really understand a matter through and through, you have to take into consideration all of its aspects, not just ignore the ones that are not the issue. Okay. לפעמים, מרכז שובר נדמה, בצד עצמו, ואז שניהם אנשים מסבור בשובר. Okay, so still now we're talking about the idea that something is a miracle, it's a composite, but there are dominant elements and subordinate elements. Now he's saying that there are situations where they're mamish equal, but they are actually mamish meshuvah, they're actually equal. There is no one that outweighs the other one. So he's saying now that this pasuk, the is talking about a situation where they're totally equal, they're totally on the same level. So that is why it's saying Eilu to Eilu. In other words, Eilu is a thing like a mamish balanced, totally balanced. And that's what makes the Machlokes Reuven Shammai different than other Machlokes. Each one, even though they say opposite things, they're equally valid. The Kevan Shabbakin is Shuvah, Shnei Yam Divil Kevan. Ki Hashem Yisborach Nus Ma Torah. Let's see the Akol, the Fi HaBechin. Abishter gave the Torah, and he gave the Torah that he says, explains that what does it mean there with the Bechinas. He says that the Halacha is established according to the tzad that's boilet yoser, like the side that's protruding more, like one that's more obvious or more dominant. And this one, and here the came to the sugar, staying at one time. So you can't say one's more control the other. The Shem is going to listen to it. See what I told you. She'im ha'bechina to the tahara. See what I love to it. And half is the hagamka. You have bechina the tzimmer. See what I love tzimmer. So each one, according to what it is, he established the love to be a certain way. He metzahir the good of Divrelikim. Chaim. Lekim, so he just brought up a time inside of the Pina Shotad Zois. The thing in the time, Gan King brought up the Lekim. So he just brought up a time in the Pina Shotad. Some things where he says that he's still saying. Says that when two Chachamim, someone else says in a different sefer, says that when two Chachamim are cholik and halacha, so both of the opinions are from Hashem. Nevertheless, one is closer to Hashem in a sense. They're both from Hashem, but one is closer to Hashem. So it says in creations also, even though there's always an aspect that's closer to Hashem in a sense, even though they were all created by Hashem. Okay. So, the kach shoyel sham, the achrei ki eilu eilu divrei b'shuvah came ula amar lochim b'beis hillel. So if that's the case, they're both from Hashem. How can you say the loch is like Beis Hillel? That was the possible that said the loch of Beis Hillel. The Omar b'gdei hem noichim ba'alivim. So it's interesting. He's saying that the character of Hillel was to be gentle, to be like relaxed and gentle, and the one that suffers, like is willing to endure the suffering and put himself down, be the subordinate. The dover zeh ki hatam shenusin beishamai mitzad chidud hasikli. The reasons that Shammai gave for his positions were based on a certain sharpness of seichel, a certain insight, a certain ability through seichel intellectually to get to the bottom of the matter. They were very, very sharp. They were very direct and insightful. You couldn't argue with their arguments. The argument was really, really, 100%. He shook them away time. So when you balance that against the time that Beis Hillel gave, they were actually sharper in their intellectual understanding of the matter. A person who suffers and doesn't exploit. Is a person who is a person to be exploited rather than the exploiter. So So as we said before, there's an idea of the ahava that the halacha is based on is an opinion that's closer to Hashem, and because the person who is the eluvim, the lo'oilvim, the one who's willing to suffer as opposed to being the exploiter, he is closer to Hashem. So therefore, his opinion, Lamaisa, comes out closer to Hashem. Because it's Hashem is Gudilus. The Arni is a bekannter Mokam Achim. The Alisu Ralichas ki midas zois ki midas apshitas legamri. This is also that midah of, it comes down to a nivus basically, is closer to the idea of pshitas. So if it's pshitas, the idea of pshitas is, of course, that's closer to Hashem. So a person who encompasses that midah of pshitas, his opinion is going to be closer to Hashem. The kach. So it's really, it's appropriate that his room should be the halacha. Ki halacha is seichel pushit. The halacha is supposed to be as simple and as direct and as undivided as possible. So his seichel he had the midah of that kind of a nivus, that kind of pashtus, and because of that, his seichel, his intellect, also operated that way. It was a result of his midah, of his personality, of his whole character was in that direction. So therefore, his intellect also followed that. Kasher hinelav yesh loy midas hapshitus. So because he has this aspect of being the one to be the one to be he says eluvim shehim mekablim haspalus ve'enim poyalim ba'achirim. They're not the ones to be. They're not the aggressive ones. They're not the ones to try to influence somebody else. They allow themselves to be trampled on, whatever. They allow themselves to be ignored or whatever, and instead of taking advantage of the other one, would rather be on the bottom than be on the top and taking advantage of somebody else. So because of that,
we're talking about like in the sphere of intellectual debate.
In all spheres.
In debate, usually the one who's confident and secure with his opinion doesn't have to be aggressive because they know that they have the truth. They can just express it without being forceful.
But I don't know if that's always true because I can imagine that Shammai was very forceful with his debate.
Yeah, exactly.
But on the other hand, it wasn't out of a lack of confidence.
Not necessarily. I'm just saying from Beis Hillel's perspective. I always thought that we Halacha follows Beis Hillel because he takes the more lenient approach.
Okay, he's not saying that. That's not his answer. He's saying that it has to do with pashtus because the fact is sometimes he doesn't. There are places where he is machmir and Shammai is moving. So it's not 100% of the time. And it could be because he, in the case of maybe the pashtus of the halacha is the Abishta wants to be, he's a Baal Chesed, and he tends towards more towards the chesed than towards the din. But in terms of you could say that Shammai was looking for a kind of intellectual purity. It's like talk about the briskers. The idea that they want to get to the essence. The etzem, even if it's not practical, it's not the opinion that's widely held, but they want to be pure, go all the way, and wherever that takes you, this pure intellectual discovery, exploration. So wherever that takes you, you go there. But Hillel was maybe a little more human, in his approach to things. But this is what I'm saying. And so it's after the Seichel Pushit, Asher Lui LaHalocha Kasher Tuvin Divrei Chacham. The Fika, so he says even Kasher Tuvin Divrei Chacham, he says if you really understand what wisdom is, you understand that that's what it's about. It's about this idea of Seichel Pushit. That's really where it's at. It's not necessarily this pure intellectual, pristine, 100%ness. It's like it's an ability to understand the nuances and together with the practical application, but not in the sense of making it more complicated, in the sense of making it less complicated. So the Ficha Halak Beis Hillel ki devora mischabrin al seichel apushet legam. Teda oil. V'teda oid ki hanoyach ha'eluvoim ha'elboim himida re'ia lahalocha. So also this idea of the classic story about Hillel and these guys were trying to get him angry, and they were waking up in the middle of the night and kept calling him and bothering him and he just refused to get angry. He was just impossible to anger because it just wasn't part of him. It's just not. Either he was, naturally just that way, or he had worked on himself.
Yeah, he mastered.
Because it's totally, beyond normal human behavior. But anyway, he had mastered that midah to such an extent that he was able to. I just heard some stories about Moshe Feinstein's book. That one time somebody's giving him a ride, and they slammed the door on his finger or something, and apparently he must have got his finger out, but he didn't make any noise, about it at all. He doesn't want to embarrass the driver. And when he got out of the car, and he told his son, "Give me something, I got it just over my finger." But the whole time he held it in because he didn't want to make the driver feel bad. And then once he got out of the car, then he told his son, "You better get a bandage." So in other words, that's the kind of seichel of a global, the real tzaddik, a global that really understands, what it means. There's many stories about that. That to embarrass somebody or whatever it is. It's like how will we be able to absorb that? Anyway. There's a minute of shit. So nimshach achar seichel push it. Asher yivu la halocha v'asher tivin divrei chachma v'kicha halocha v'tzila zol mischaber v'seichel push the gam. I'm sorry. Ki hanoich ha'ilboin hi mida v'ir halocha ki halocha hi derech hayusha. So I'm saying another thing. Halocha is derech hayusha. It's a straight path. She'eino sar min hayusha. It doesn't go one way or the other. It's straight. The hi halocha Hashem is b'rech l'gami. It's going totally with Hashem because Hashem is straight and it's straight. So it goes. It's going in a path. Maharal talks about this a lot. This idea of the path, the middle road, the road, the straight road. That there's a road. You have to stay on the path. You can't deviate from the path one way or the other. You can't. You kind of it's like meanness. The idea of something that's deviations. From the straight.
It makes sense. I think of this when I think of this kind of concept, which comes up a lot. I think of it as like a system. Think about a car. The slightest sensor that's not working as a whole, it needs every component to
think of a rocket. Think of a rocket.
Everything has to be going in the
everything
same direction.
Has to be precise.
Exactly.
To the last
calculating and
at the same time, it needs flexibility. You have to have flexibility, but at the same time, there's an idea of that you don't. In other words, and the bigger a person it is, the more dangerous it is because even the least element of like the koirach, so the least element, he's a big tzaddik and a big lamdan and everything else, but because he had a little bit of maybe mageh b'dovar, even though it was maybe a small percentage of the whole issue, and he had his whole ideology and everything else worked out, but that took him right off the path. It was just that little bit off. So be very careful when you get in those high positions. The big
I heard the original plan was for Korach to be the Mashiach. And failing that, there's going to be Mashiach Acher.
There's going to be Levi Godel. Levi Godel.
Acher was going to be Mashiach. Elisha ben Avuya, just to show you you can have a heretic Messiah.
So he's saying to that idea of yoshus, of straightness. So the person who has this midah of noyach ve'elboin is the one that's more appropriate for that. He fits in more with that concept. So if a person that is going like forcing it, like he's going with his own strength and his own his own power, he's going in a certain direction, it's always going to go a little bit off. It's going to go to one side. It's not going to be mamish to the ocean. And this could be something related to a concept I feel very strong about, is that as long as a person feels that his chayas is coming from himself, he's always going to feel limited, and he's always going to why does a person get tired? And why is it that tzaddikim, for example, were able to, barely sleep and be up and be clear all the time? Because their chayas wasn't coming from them; it was coming from Hashem. Because when you're conscious of running on Hashem's power instead of your own power, then it's like limitless. It's not. There's no limits to it. It's not the grain. It's not remote. But once you start feeling like it's me, and I only have so much power to give, so I'm going to run out of steam eventually. So the more you can connect in with Hashem's power, that because you're running on your own power, it's going to give out. So that's kind of what he's talking about. This idea that a person goes with powerful, more power than Hashem doesn't want you to go so much with running people over. Be a bulldozer. He's giving you a certain. He's metering it out in a sense, and having a Hashem's power doesn't mean that you're a bulldozer. It means that it's measured and metered in a very consistent and very balanced way. you know, and that's not the way of power. So that's what he's saying. Power is not necessarily balanced. Sometimes you need it, but it's not a balanced thing. Well, Mishi Moya Vanella. He doesn't go, you know, externally to some end of the world. So even though according to Chachma, Shammai would be Chachomim. So we're not putting them down. Their intellect was able to get to this level where they're also called Divrei. You call Mukam, it's at Atzman Shel Beis Hillel, in terms of the Atzmas, the essence of Beis Hillel. They were, it was more fitting for them, this idea of Yoshi. So that's why they became Haloch, and the Gamze, Mukam, Peish, Rishon, Iker, Ibura, Kashet, Pshitas. There's two aspects. There's the idea of the midas of pshitus, and there's also this idea of the midas of yosher and balance. And he says that the first one, the idea of pshitus, is the main is the explanation, but this is also okay.